is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We are here to take a look at Friday's 9-game main slate. Sir James, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It was, John, January, February basketball is unlike none other. And again, I'm going to stick by my guns here. And I am imagining every game is not a blowout because you just can't predict a blowout anymore.
Can't.
We saw LeBron and Anthony Davis get ruled out, and not only are the Lakers winning outright, that's besides the point. Like, they were 15-point dogs. 15-point dogs.
Yeah.
Like, it jumped from 10.5 to 15. The Memphis Grizzlies are leading early in the fourth as we record this show on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Whether or not Jared Allen is in or left the game, whether or not Darius Garland is limited, that does not matter. Cleveland is like 14-2. They were 15-4 without Darius Garland over their last 20 games. Memphis is dead, right? They're playing Trey Jemison 14 minutes. GG Jackson's 1 for 11 off the bench, and they're outright winning a game. It's just, there is just something to be said. And I think there are specific situations like the Dallas situation the other day. The Lakers still had D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, right? Two players that can light it up and pretty good role players at times.
And Reeves did, by the way.
And Reeves did.
Actual.
And D'Lo has a season high assist. So you can look at spots and be like, Dallas doesn't have Kyrie, Luka, and then their backups are not that, right? And they get torched against Minnesota in that game. But anything else other than those very clear situations where you're this team just can't hang because they don't have a D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reeves light player, I am treating as if it is a competitive game, because too often in January and February, and as the season gets even later, when we're starting to see all these G Leaguers come up and play permanent minutes, too often we're sitting here and trying to predict blowout when the winning lineup tonight is going to have 4 Lakers, right? Because you got to Lakers. Unfortunately, it's not going to be Jared Vanderbilt because he left the game, but he was obviously a great play before he got hurt. But still, there is going to be 4, maybe 5 Lakers tonight in the winning lineup. And not to say the Lakers weren't popular, but it's just for the people that didn't play them, right? For the people that were not going to play all this, all the Laker chalk because I don't think the game's going to stay competitive. We just have to, I think, alter our mindset for the remainder of the season. Unless we have a clear situation where Dallas is so top heavy and those players aren't there and they don't have the legs, they don't have the horses like the Lakers do to fill in the gaps. We just have to treat every situation as if, okay, this team is going to be competitive, and if I lose because of that, so be it. Because more often than not, even in situations where we're playing fully at strength teams, there's a blowout happening regardless. So I didn't mean for the rant to start the show, but I think it is today is a perfect example of why we need to just start treating the NBA differently. And I'm not just saying you and I, just in general, the way we think about it is okay, no more blowouts. This is going to be competitive. Let's move on. Who's the best player from this competitive game?
Sure. I will say, as you mentioned, blowouts here on this 9-game slate do have quite a few games with double-digit point spreads.
Of course we do.
Detroit's at home getting 11, 235 total against the Clippers. The OKC Thunder are at home giving 16.5 to the Charlotte Hornets here. And actually, the last game actually isn't on our slate, but Denver was giving 12 to Portland. We don't have the 9 p.m. Late night hammer matchup on this on this main slate here. So, slate ends at 8. So, two games, I guess, as of now with double digit point spreads. So plenty of games and competitive ones. Phoenix, Atlanta, 248.5 total, 3.5 point spread. Sacramento, Indiana, 245.5 game total, 2.5 point spread in that one there. So those are certainly going to be some fun games. New Orleans versus San Antonio, 237.5. San Antonio is getting 7, but hey, we got Wemby on the main slate. So obviously the 16.5 point total between the Hornets and the Thunder, you know what? Maybe that's not the game when we have Phoenix and Atlanta on this main slate to go and target here. As we do look at this main slate, your top priced overall player, Domantas Sabonis, 10-4. Little revenge game back to Indy. Talk about that all the time. SGA is 10-3. Then nobody else up over 10K, surprisingly or not. Looking at the point guard position specifically, after SGA, you have Devin Booker at 99, Trae Young at 96. LaMelo, though I don't think he's going to play in this game, he is doubtful. 95, Curry 94, Halliburton 93, but still on a minutes limit there. And Scotty Barnes has cracked the 9K.
I'd almost be surprised if Halliburton played just on a back-to-back. If they're limiting his minutes like this, but then again, we kind of thought the same thing about Darius Garland the other on the Thursday slate, and he played. So we'll see. He'll be on a limit. Domantas Sabonis, maybe some All-Star Game snub narrative here because Domantas Sabonis, he did not make the team, right? West reserves, no. Domantas Sabonis should be an All-Star. For those that have not been paying attention, he should be. So for sure, interested in some Sabonis, but a very, very fun, balanced slate overall for
sure. 100%. Let's get into the point guard position here. So you mentioned obviously, SGA there, that 16.5 point slate game. It's, he is SGA, it is Charlotte. It's like one of the best matchups overall for a guard.
Yep.
Jalen Williams not expected to play in this game, obviously, because he's going to be out with the ankle injury. You say avoid blowouts. I mean,
of course, this is how we start the show. Of course, like this has to be the first. This has to be the first. Like, there's not even like a couple players in between. It's the first player that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Look, no Jalen Williams for the next few games. He's out. No Isaiah Joe for the next few games. He's out. They looked good against Denver, good enough to win. They did get blown out against Detroit. For those that were keeping score at home, a couple games ago, they got torched by Detroit. 16-point loss in Detroit. They've also been a super nails team at home. If this game does stay competitive, it's going to be a really fruitful one for SGA. It's just, this is probably the one game we have to worry about. Now, Charlotte has semi been more competitive lately, and they do get themselves back into games at times because they play their starters 40 minutes against backups, and then this.
Right.
I remember I think it was the Utah game a few games ago. They had to put their starters back in. They're like, all right, we're not letting this get out of it. We're not letting this happen. So the Knicks did the same thing. So, I mean, 10-3 for SGA is too cheap. Coming off 56 with no Jalen Williams. He's a 1.7 fantasy point per minute guy without Jalen Williams. So I'd be hard pressed not to have some interest in a guy with a 1.7 fantasy point per
minute output. It's pretty wild, right? Just the output that he can have there. Below him, though, you do have the highest game total and most competitive game on the slate. You have Booker versus Trae Young. Devin Booker, Brooklyn, 44 fantasy points, back-to-back games of 22 actual. We want more. We want more 50s and 60s than 40s here, but this is certainly a matchup that can bring that to life. Flip side, Trae Young here, 52, 54, 55 the last 3 games since he's come back. No limitations from the concussion, 33, 42, 34, 20-plus shot attempts here, double-digit assists in all 3 games. I mean, if there was a case to be made to not play SGA, it's because the guards below him are all in really good spots.
Really hard, I think, to ignore Trae at 96, no?
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the way that Phoenix runs their backcourt, I'm not sure how they're going to stay in front of Trae Young. I'm not sure how they're going to chase Trae Young around anywhere. This is a really bad spot for Phoenix to be in guarding Trae. So I love Trae Young in this spot. Obviously, I wasn't intentionally ignoring Devin Booker, but because I think Devin Booker is an elite option as well. But I love the Trae Young $9,600 price tag.
No arguments here whatsoever. It is Memphis on a back-to-back in Memphis, but Steph Curry is looking old school Steph Curry right now.
Yes.
Golden State has not been a good home team, a road team rather. Does
Or
Memphis
just team.
just team, but they've been better-ish. I mean, he's not a $9,400 player playing like this either.
No. I mean,
what do we get from Steph Curry here at $9,400?
So, like, obviously, Memphis has been a pretty good defensive team. They've been a slow team. I'd be interested to see what Memphis does because the last time we saw John Concher sit, it was on a back-to-back. I know they started Scottie Pippen alongside Concher tonight. I wonder if Kennard comes back, we see Pippen go back to the bench, or we see Concher sit out and maybe Kennard plays. We'll see what Memphis even looks like. I mean, it could just be a total G League team, even more than it already is. And in that case, I would definitely have more interest in Steph than I'd probably do right now. I'm okay getting to Steph. I would also just prefer Trae for $200 more. That's probably where I would get to. Sure. But I have no problem getting to Steph in 94.
Below 9K, De'Aaron Fox is $8,900. James Harden is $88. What was the Paul George update that we got? It seems like he's good to go here. Not on the injury report. Okay. Well, Harden's still there. Harden's looking pretty good. It is Detroit. Take that for however you want. Cade, 8K. DeJounte, 81. Anthony Edwards, 84 against Orlando here. Any thoughts on the 8K range?
I mean, yeah, Fox under 9K is interesting. I do think the Harden play could be. I still think Paul George is going to be limited, but I guess we'll get word from Tyronn Lue, who also said he'll never reveal how many minutes a limit is, and he's shocked when coaches do. But he has at least given us word when a player's going to be limited, but we just don't know the capacity. If there is word that Paul George is going to continue to be limited with the groin, I'd be okay getting to Harden or Kawhi. I mean, Harden's had some monster games, even with Paul George, just given how good. I mean, the Clippers might be the best team in the NBA, and they who knows. Edwards, tough spot. If you want to play him in tournaments, you can. Coming off a really bad game, they didn't really need him to be good in that game, but and then DeJounte, trade deadline. DeJounte is hitting different these days, John. He's looked really good. He also wanted to really impress the Lakers, like, hey, please trade for me.
It's true. What do we have for Cade here? Probable Friday injury management. I mean, Cade's been pretty good for a bad team. I mean, had the 12 assists and 7 assists the last 2 games since he's come back. 35 and 31 minutes off the rip. I mean, no worries here for Cade.
I'd say the one worry is that he was probable over, I think it was the second leg of their back-to-back, and he was probable late scratch.
I mean, and we all thought he wasn't going to play that game anyway. So
I don't know why he played. I don't know why he was ever listed probable and ever why because they released the starting lineup. That was the second time in the week because they did the Embiid thing where Embiid was late scratch, and then the Cade thing back-to-back, and then the NBA, and then people were like, we need to figure this shit out immediately.
One of the more tempting prices is McCollum at 7K here against San Antonio. I don't know if we have a Zion status yet. Zion is questionable. And if Zion's out again,
right back to the well.
7K McCollum against San Antonio is a great matchup.
I played him and Ingram both the other night, and they were both sub 10%. Would go literally. Yeah. I would run back to that. Sprint.
It's unfortunate that I'll even put quotations. He kind of had a floor game for what could have been here for him, right? The game itself had less than 220 points scored, or less than 210 points scored. I don't know, or bad math here. I can't even do it on the fly.
That's hard. That's hard. You're right. 209. 209. Yes.
Less than
Final answer. 209.
Not a lot. The final answer. Won't phone a friend. We nailed it.
Yo, shout out Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for whoever don't know. That's
Dude, the original
all-time great show.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was appointment television, right?
Appointment television.
Had to show up at night, watch it with Regis Philbin. Like that was absolute stellar. Everything that they did afterwards, forget about it. Don't even
shout out Regis the GOAT.
Yeah. Anyway, so McCollum 7K, fantastic. We got FEV now under 7K, a little Toronto matchup for him there. Jalen Green just popping off right now. I mean,
yeah,
he didn't give you the 10 rebounds. They give you another 30, actually, give you 5 blocks.
Shocker. No 10 rebounds, huh, John? I mean, that wasn't completely just
30 actual now in 3 of the last 4 games.
Yep. And the minutes are great. The minutes are great. Everything about it's great. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, Jalen Green's gonna be difficult not to get into lineups, I think, here. So
I mean, truthfully, you mentioned Van Vliet, you mentioned Green at the same price. I would why even like I know I'm gonna put my shoe in my mouth and Van Vliet's gonna go for 65, but like why would we even at this point? Right? Over Green, who's also multi-position eligible. Like it just doesn't, it feels like you're just capping yourself.
I get he's the forgotten man here, but like $6,500 and a 248 game total.
Dude, there is going to be games. We've said this a couple times.
He's had those games. 43 fantasy points against Dallas was one of those games, right? 55 against LA. Do
you want to hear a crazy stat?
Sure.
Have you heard this stat yet?
Does he lead the human usage rate or something like that?
No.
Okay.
The big three in Phoenix, the current big three in Phoenix, has played more games together than the big three in Brooklyn when Kevin Durant was there. Is that not insane? Hasn't Bradley Beal only played like 12 games this year? Doesn't it feel like Bradley Beal has not played a lot? He's played 24.
He missed they both all missed like the first 2 weeks of the season. So
I just think that's that's an insane stat. Anyways, I know that's irrelevant to the slate. Bradley Beal is going to have plenty of them. I don't know if it can happen right now while Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are doing what they're doing. And also you just sprinkle in the Nurkic game from the other night where Nurkic went nuclear.
Yeah. Because everybody's gonna be plugging Trey, everybody's gonna be plugging Booker, Durant, and for good reason, right?
Yep.
And Beal's sitting there at $6,500, like pretty much giving you 5x every night, anyways, just like ho humming it, not killing you. He's probably a good cash gameplay. If you want a game stack, aren't you throwing a $6,500 Bradley Beal in your lineup?
Feels like there's a good ceiling on that.
Doesn't it feel like there's a good ceiling there? So I definitely do not hate that spot for him there. What's the Toronto quickly Barrett stat?
They all practiced. They practiced quickly. Pirtle, and Pirtle as well.
Okay.
I think Pirtle is listed as questionable. Is the official status on Pirtle? But he practiced on Thursday, so I believe all 3 of them. I think Barrett is the most likely to miss.
Okay.
That would be my.
The shooter's probably out of the consideration then here.
Unless they decided to do quickly off the ball, but I would assume they would just play. They would just keep plugging Bruce Brown in for big minutes, right?
Or Trent, right?
Yeah, Trent. Well, it would be quickly Trent, Brown, Barnes, Pirtle. And if Pirtle's out, you just Thad Young.
Sure.
Because Thad Young played 32 minutes.
And he had what? Did he have his triple double?
He had a good. Yes, he had quad double if you count 5 fouls.
Yeah.
16, 6, 6, and 5.
How many steals? 4, 5?
No, he actually had a 0 in the stocks category, but that's good. He was too busy scoring, too busy dishing, too busy rebounding. No time for stocks.
Westbrook, again, even with the limitations, he didn't really get as much pop as we had hoped. Can't really go back to that well. Do you think Halliburton plays in the second leg of a back-to-back?
A little skeptical, but we'll see. If he sits, obviously we're going to
Nembhard 56, fantastic spot for him there. How are you feeling about the rest of this 5K and under tier? Is there an obvious value to you? You mentioned Scottie Pippen earlier. He's 4,900 now, though.
If Conjure, Kennard are out, I think Pippen just feels like he's going to play as many minutes as he can handle.
Mhm.
So I would be okay with it. If there's no Halliburton, I mean, TJM, we know is going to be the backup. He's sub 5K. So if McConnell is the backup point guard, I would be okay there. Love to see Markelle Fultz playing 30 minutes. Last 3 games that Markelle Fultz has now played 27 minutes. 29 minutes, 26 fantasy points. 27 minutes, 32 fantasy points. 30 minutes, 30 fantasy points. Like, he's he has the ball in his hands a lot. Like, pretty high usage player. So I'd be okay getting to some Markelle Fultz.
Okay.
I don't believe there's anything else. Oh, so how about Josh Richardson, John?
You called him out at 3K. He played 27 minutes. He had 24 actual points against Sacramento.
I mean, like, he's not going to go 6 of 10 again. But, like,
if he's going to play the minutes,
he's 35 again.
Yep.
And we had moved on, and I was like, don't know why Josh Richardson's 3,100.
Right.
And I wish I, like, acted on the fact that Josh Richardson was 3,100, but, like, he's 3,500 against Washington.
Yeah, we plugged Butler in, and I feel like we're just gonna make that like same mistake where it's like we're just gonna play Jimmy Butler against Washington. Like let's just do that. And then
no, this is a trap. The Jimmy trap. This is a trap if I've ever seen a Jimmy Butler trap, because this is a game that he won. Book it. He defers in this game. Book it. It is.
He's been really good the last 3 games. So.
No, he has. Dude. See this?
Yeah.
This is
Jimmy.
Yeah. Dude, this is like vintage Jimmy. They got to win. He's like, all right, we're back on track. Terry Rozier, 3 points in 30.
Dude, he had 30 fantasy points, though.
So funny. This is the spot for Terry. Where are we? We're a point guard still. Josh Richardson. We can move on to.
Okay. Go on to shooting guard here. A lot of these men we've already discussed. Brandon Ingram is $7,700. RJ Barrett, we talked a little bit about. Brandon Miller came out firing, missed a lot early, came back a little bit to help out some fantasy managers there in the end. The only takeaway I have is this one. It is a 16.5 point spread. He will still play 40 minutes, regardless of what I think this game total is going to end up being, and he's going to approach 20 shots. So he's an under 7K guy that's going to do all of those things.
Sure is. Yeah, if you want to get to him, sure.
I'm not really afraid of that of the spread there with a guy like Brandon Miller. Final words spoken, maybe. Do you think it's Terry Rozier day?
I think that it could be anybody because
I
mean, dude, it's
the Wizards, right?
Yeah,
so
that's the kicker there. So there's comments out of Miami during this big losing streak, and they basically went. Tyler Hero came out and said like, "Yeah, I just got to change my role, and I just got to be a spot up shooter." So like when he's shooting, it's spot up shooting, but he had 8 rebounds and 8 assists.
He's not Duncan Robinson, Tyler. You're supposed to create your shot here.
Well, they have a lot of that now, especially bringing with Terry Rozier in the room. I'm okay getting to these Heat. Like, I was also largely kidding about Jimmy, but also like we know,
we know 32 fantasy point Jimmy's hanging around here somewhere.
Yeah, I mean regular season Jimmy and postseason Jimmy are 2 different animals. So like.
But now they're losing and they're in danger of like not getting the postseason. So we're getting postseason Jimmy because
I know they need to.
At some point he came back. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have recorded that country album
and all those commercials
and continue to launch my coffee brand
and the commercials with the hotels.com.
The hotels.com commercial. Yeah, maybe I should have been trying to win some basketball games. So. Anywho,
would you lean Rozier or I mean they are literally making us choose between Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier. They are the exact same
I don't
price
see how you play Terry Rozier.
You would play Tyler Hero over Rozier?
I think so.
I think I would play the opposite. I think I would play T Rose.
The shot volume is better for you.
No, I know. I think it's a really not fun game to pick.
It's not a fun game.
Play Josh Richardson 3,500. You don't have to. I'm just saying. No Duncan Robinson.
Bogdan got knocked down to 25. Ivy's
Yeah.
He's fine. Clay, obviously overtime game there, but
yeah, and he's back from the illness. He missed the last game. Back from the illnesses.
Been knocking down threes again. Draymond being the guy that he's being right now changes the offense. So Of course, we have one warrior that we will talk about in 2 positions that we're going to be pretty excited about. I haven't checked his price yet. I don't know if you've peeked, but I'm curious where our guy is. Don't tell me. I want to be surprised. All right, 5K shooting guard tier. Got Hoarder at 5,100, Trent 49,
and Bruce Brown 59. I like Bruce Brown. If Barrett's out,
sure. Nembhard's there. Grayson's coming down. Grayson Allen price coming down a little bit.
Yep, and we know. I mean, if he can, anytime he starts making shots, it could snowball into something big. So
it's also just he got hurt obviously in that game, but the game before that he took just 3 total shots. Very live to do that. It's very live to do that.
That was also. I mean, he had to deal with a 40 ball for 7 straight games.
Yeah, Gary Trent is a guy I like here. I like the minutes, assuming he's starting still. Price is good. He's going to shoot threes. As long as he's under 5K, I don't mind going back to the well. I feel the same way about obviously my boy Norm.
Yep.
Another 27 minutes, another 14 actual, 27 fantasy points. Like he's consistently killing his $4,700, $4,600, $4,800 price tag. So, if we think George is going to continue to be limited or any sort of hint of limitations, he's there. Murphy at 47, Cody Martin still playing minutes. Cam Whitmore, your boy there, 20 minutes, knocked down all the shots. Took the over 1.5 threes for Cam Whitmore the other day. Came in the game. It's like, don't worry, John, I got you. Boom, boom, knocked him down. Money in my pocket.
Yep, really good spot for Houston at home too.
Koulibaly had a good game the other day, didn't he? 37 minutes for Koulibaly.
Yep.
What do you think about this? 42.
So he's playing all of Denny's minutes.
Yeah,
he is. I mean, Denny is
talking about a new coach, and Denny stopped no longer in the rotation.
And it was Jordan Poole too, because they had scratched Jordan Poole after lock. Second time that's happened this year for Jordan Poole, where he's been scratched after lock. He is listed questionable in this game. So if there's no Jordan Poole, we're going right back to the Bilal Koulibaly will. No doubt about it. He'd be one of the plug and plays because we've seen this all year. Even in blowouts, Bilal Koulibaly's playing. So they need to. He's 19 years old. They want to develop him. He's known for his defense. He looks super polished defensively. Looks like he doesn't know what he's doing offensively at times. So they just need to play him. And so if Jordan pulls out, he's going to play a lot of minutes.
Did you see the report that the Pistons were on the verge of trading Killian Hayes, and then Monty Williams stepped in and said, "Don't trade this man"?
Because
I have no idea why Monty?
Well,
what exactly were you keeping him for? Because now he just sits on your bench. So.
We talk about choices all the time, John, and this seems like one.
Was Monty Williams not a good coach? Was it just Phoenix doing it themselves?
I swear he was 6 games in an NBA Finals. He coached a team. There were 6 games in a Finals that he coached a team. Maybe I must have missed that. I don't know.
I mean, listen, there have been, Doc Rivers was letting Dame Lillard inbound the ball to Giannis last night. So, winning championships has nothing to do with being a good coach. That should Doc, just for future reference, in case you tuned in today, you flip that usually. You want your good free throw shooter to get the ball. Anyways. I didn't live bet the Milwaukee Bucks last night. Small forward Barnes is 9K.
Well, Jordan Hawkins. I'll just throw out Jordan Hawkins.
Yeah. Our boys. If those guys are out. Yeah.
Those guys are out.
23 minutes for Hawkins. Missed all of his shots. Did Daniels start?
He started. He did.
Daniels got to start.
He was 3,100. He's a point guard, small forward, 3,500. But like 24 minutes again.
Yeah, I still lean Hawkins over Daniels in that debate. So. Just better shot volume is going to be there for him on a more night-to-night basis.
So. Better shot volume. They literally split minutes. They 24 and 20.
But what do we say? If he went 4 for 5 and not 1 for 5, would he have not stayed on the floor? Probably.
Right. It's a good argument. It also, I would say, it's probably a night-to-night thing. Like Daniels is a very good defender.
Sure.
Who. In not a San Antonio matchup, probably might play more, because
guard Vassell.
I don't know. San Antonio is not exactly thrown out. And I think they could be down, guys. Like Keldon's questionable.
Yeah, so defend Malachi Branham, Dougie McBuckets out there. All right, Barnes is 9K, as I mentioned. If you want to get the Scotty Barnes, more power to you. I won't tell you not to, but 9K feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kawhi's at 88. Feel much better about that. I went for just nuclear numbers there. Another 30 actual in 30 minutes against the Wizards there. So go ahead. Siakam 86 on the back-to-back. Miles Bridges, small forward, power forward here, $8,500. Lost his center eligibility.
Dude.
Yeah, no. He was good the other day.
He was He was good on the basketball court.
Yes, he did well on the basketball floor.
I don't know. Have you seen? Shout out to our boy Cam the Man, regular tweeter. He tweeted at me.
Good on the floor.
He tweeted about that specifically, and I said, "Damn right, he on the floor,
on the floor, good player."
I'm honestly, specifically, you should just say on the court. We should just rule out a floor.
Other floors, rule out other floors, and not in court. We're talking about on the court. on the basketball court.
In between the NBA court lines.
Correct. During his employment, he is very good on the basketball court. Yeah, dude, I'm fine. Again, even in blowouts, he's going to play 40 minutes. So
yes. Every game.
And he's a really, really good player.
Yes.
Can't even argue the talent. So he's there. 100%. Buckets is 78. Franz is under 7K now at 6,900. He had himself a little starting to heat up.
Yes.
Starting to look like the guy he was pre-injury.
Yes. With a lot of fouls.
In that case, we were paying 8K for him. So
he hasn't had to be extended. He hasn't had to be extended in any of the last 3 games. I mean, the Dallas game, he was in foul trouble, so he couldn't be. But low 30s minutes. Yeah, I love Franz.
Let's see what old Lunch Pail's at right now. Lunch Pail Vince Williams is where are we at? Vince Williams 17, 6, 2, 1-1 for Lunch Pail Vince Williams here tonight. Cleveland is going to end up winning that one, 107-101 there. What are your thoughts on Vince Williams here?
Gonna get the Curry assignment, as we've talked about. He did sit the last back-to-back though, so keep that in mind. True. 31 minutes. John, did you see the line for Vince Williams? 31 minutes.
Yeah.
17, 6, 2, 1, 1. Just clocking in, clocking out. Did miss his threes tonight. Shout out to me. I knew it all along. Couldn't last forever. But I would go right back to the well. I mean, why not? He's going to continue to be this good. He was actually really good against Golden State the other day. When they played 24-7, 4-1, 2 steals.
Yeah.
And we know Golden State was the worst defense in basketball in the month of January. So, unfortunately, John, looks like we're going to play some Memphis guys. Because, first off, we don't even know who's going to play for Memphis.
True.
Because, I mean, Tillman was late scratch today. They haven't played guys on back-to-backs. They could be with Derrick Rose in this game. Guys were, doubtful to return. So, it's a mess, but... it is a good spot for Memphis, objectively.
Bojan, 30 minutes. He's fine.
Yeah, there he is.
They 35 minutes for him. The minutes aren't going away. The rebounds are still there, even when they're healthy. He is just locked into this role. So
you had an opportunity for a really sick bar, but you went healthy instead of you could have went healthy. It would have kept going. It would, yeah. Sadiq Bey, minutes not going away.
I can't really write anything with Jonathan Kuminga, but he is awesome. So I saw somebody out there.
Let's play the cum bucket.
Yeah, I saw a tweet today that said Jonathan Kuminga betting odds for most improved player was plus 1,000 or something like that. Let's see if I can find the actual betting odds for it. But it was a recommendation. It's listen, if you're looking for a dark horse most improved player award, there are obviously other guys that are favorites ahead of him, but
Maxey.
Maxey. If he was to, if Golden State was to sort of turn their season around, most improved player leader Maxey, Şengün's plus 280, Kobe White, Scotty Barnes. Kuminga's plus 3,000 right now. Most improved player. If he keeps going out there and gives in 7 straight games now, 20 plus actual points,
yep.
If he starts to turn things around for them, that's a healthy little bet there.
Agreed. That's it. I mean, dude, it's not even. He played 39 minutes in regulation. We have not seen that out of Jonathan Kuminga yet. Like, he played the 43 minutes in double OT, but even during the stretch, John, he was playing 30, 29, 29, 30 minutes. He played 39 regulation minutes. That's how you know it's just all systems go for Jonathan Kuminga. There's all gas, no brakes, no point. This feels kind of like the Colin Sexton price of like the last 2 weeks where we were like, what are we doing? Like, why is Colin Sexton 6K every slate? This is it again. Until the price is 7K, which even at that point, with the current production, still not expensive enough. You just plug Jonathan Kuminga and then you move on to the rest of your builds, because in every matchup, I mean, it's
look at the shot attempts are ridiculous. What's hilarious is that I had the over 26.5 points and rebounds, if you remember, and I was kind of sweating it out because he wasn't really shooting. He went into the fourth quarter and you're like, dude, don't worry, he's gonna sub and he's basically gonna play the entire fourth quarter. Not only did he play the entire fourth quarter, he like took all the shots.
Scored every time.
Scored every bucket. Like, wild. He ended up getting 26 actual. So I'm with you there 100%. Like, lock and load with Jonathan Kuminga here. Aaron Nesmith, playing a bunch of minutes again, back to back. Sacramento had another good game tonight. Like, if guys are going to be out and limited, like if Halliburton's only going to play 22 minutes and Ben Mathurin's going to be ruled out, Nesmith tonight had 17 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. Yes, it wasn't 26, 12, and 7, but it's still pretty damn good for a guy that's under 6K here.
Yeah, and that's now 5 straight games of 30-plus fantasy points. So what more do we need? That's 5X or better in 5 straight games, So, keep rolling back to Aaron Nesmith. Well, even with the price going up, don't be scared off by the price at all.
How do you feel about Wiggins here?
He has also been super good. I do think like the 38 minutes was largely due to Clay not being there. Like, he's gonna play 30.
He played 41 in the overtime game. 31.
That was two. Well, that was two. Well, there's 2 overtimes too. So like, that was what the point about the Kuminga thing for me. Like, we had not seen Kuminga do it. We also haven't seen Wiggins do it. Maybe it is something to be said that Clay plays 30 plus minutes, right? Sure. And that is 30 minutes now that is dispersed into Wiggins and Kuminga's like direct positions. But this is the guy that you would remove from the floor before what Kuminga's doing. Because I know Wiggins has been good, but like Wiggins is also being floated around in like every conversation with trades. He is definitely the first player gone in a trade that Golden State makes. Him or Chris Paul, right? Those are like the first 2 names.
Probably together.
Probably. I mean, that's the rumor, like that they're together. So I'm good getting to Andrew Wiggins. I'm not as sold as like someone like getting to Kuminga would be.
Okay. He'll play 28 minutes. I missed everything. He was 1 for 8 shooting. So even if in or out, I'm probably moving on from that aspect here. A lot of guys we've already talked about. Anybody we haven't that you want to discuss?
I don't think you mentioned Trey Murphy, but he started again with Zion out and Herb out. It was 27 minutes. Seems to be like the cap on Trey Murphy right now, 27, 28 minutes. He went on JJ Redick's podcast recently and talked about like him working through a shooting slump. And obviously he has not shot the ball well because he came out guns blazing shooting the ball and now he's not. I do think that also plays a part into why we're seeing like Dyson Daniels and Jordan Hawkins playing extended minutes because they can't give Murphy 30 while he struggles like this. Right. But he also, he was in that late in that Houston game with like backup with the backups because I think they just need Trey Murphy to figure out what's going on. I would get to Murphy at 47 if there's no Zion or no Herb. Because I think if one or the other sit, Murphy's just the plug into the starting lineup, right? Like that's just easily the plug. So if Zion's out, Murphy starts. If Herb's it's Murphy starts, so I would get there.
All right. Anybody else for you? Lou Dort's on the 3,900. They're just dumping down this price point. That's probably it for me here. Let's go to power forward.
Aaron Wiggins played 25 minutes, John. I don't know if that's interesting at all. And not only he started the second half of that game, and I don't know if you remember when we were talking about Aaron Wiggins, 55% from three. Yeah. I'm not like excited to play Aaron Wiggins, but also this is a situation where he's going to be in the rotation, could even start because he started over Kendrick in that second half if they want his spacing. And then who's to say he's not on the floor if the game gets out of hand?
Gets out of hand. Yeah, I don't mind it. It's a good shot. We talked about him the other night as a guy that could play. So power forward, Wemby's up to $9,300. Another disappointing 49 fantasy points out of him there. Got the 30 minutes. Came back in. He had a chance to put up some numbers.
Yep, he did.
But he got subbed back in, went like turnover, block shot, turnover. Like he didn't score another point in that game for the final 3 minutes. So those days will happen. It's also just funny that a bad day for Wemby is 49 fantasy points. So always keep him in your thoughts. KD, this was an inevitable moment for him, right? It was Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you knew he was going to show up.
Got a tribute video.
Did he get a tribute video? Okay.
And he said and they asked him about it. He said, "Hell yeah, I watched it."
Wasn't it just him slipping notes to the coach, trade me?
Hey, dude, they were a toe away from being in the NBA Finals.
Dude, they really were. They really were a toe away. Anyways, yeah, Atlanta, they don't really have anybody to deal with Durant. If Durant wants to be involved, right? He's another one where it's like if Durant wants to engage,
yes,
he's one of the best players in the league. But at this point, I mean, he had 12 free throw attempts in that game. 2-0-0.
I know.
The man can get to the line if he
whenever
wants.
Whenever he wants.
He doesn't want to. Doesn't want to play that game. So, okay playing him if you want to.
Agreed.
Tough spot for Paolo, but obviously he's playing really well.
And he's an all-star.
He's an all-star. Towns on the other side again. You know what he can do, but tough spot. Triple J on the back-to-back at $8,200. Again, taking all the shots tonight. Could take all the shots tomorrow against Golden State. They're home. Could certainly give him his flowers. Kyle Kuzma heard that I took his under 25.5 actual points and basically didn't miss a shot to open that game.
No, he didn't. No, he was unconscious.
And I was pretty upset to see that he finished with 27. I would have rather him just blow past the 25.5. Miami hasn't been playing good defense.
No.
Kuzma's at $7,700 now. It's not a terrible price.
No, I feel like I've been shouting Kuzma every slate because new coach, he's taken now 18 plus shots in all 4 games that the coaches. They've been slightly more competitive. I mean, they're 2-2, and I know they got blown out by the Clippers, but what are you going to do about Kawhi and James Harden in that game? There's nothing that they could do to stop them. So, I'm okay getting to Kuzma if you think that they're going to be competitive against Miami.
Your boy Jalen Johnson, you say he needs Trae Young in the lineup. Well, 19 and 11 for him, back-to-back double-doubles for Jalen Johnson. He's going to draw a pretty tough matchup, though.
Yep.
Going up against the one Kevin Durant in this game. Unless they stick Sadiq Bey on Durant. I don't know what they do defensively on this one.
He's just, I would say more so than that, it's just tough for him because he's going to have to guard Durant, and he's been foul happy. I mean, 5, 4, 6, 4 fouls in the last 4 games. Jalen Johnson has been a very handsy guy. So that's a little worrisome, but he is just, him and Trae are just a match made in heaven.
Yep. Agreed. If Zion's in, would you play him at 73?
Very cheap. It's very cheap. It's very cheap. I don't know what else to say. It's just cheap.
These fancy points just suck, man.
Yeah, we've said it all year. There's scoring or there's peripherals. There's not both.
Draymond continues to be good. Draymond, I'm happy to pay $6,300 for him. I mean, relatively a down game. Played 29 minutes against Philly, 6-6 though. Still pretty good. Didn't really get the blocks and steals that we're typically getting out of him, but Memphis could certainly.
He had 2 fouls. He had 2 fouls in the first minute, and he fouled Embiid on the jump, and then got a foul in the next 30 seconds, and then didn't play the whole first. So 29 minutes and 29 fantasy points, pretty good for not playing the whole first quarter.
I agree with you. Keegan's here at 61. If there was a ceiling shooting game, we just saw out of him against Miami. 33 actual again. Pick the right Keegan Murray night, you can be rewarded, right?
Yep.
Could be a space up spot, or is it even a pace up spot? What's Sacramento and pace?
Yeah, they're top 10, but Indiana's 2. Okay. Sacramento's 11th, Indiana's 2. So it's just fast on fast, but Indiana, Washington, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Spurs are all playing over 102 possessions per game. So they're just creme de la creme.
Again, could be a good spot for him, $6,100. Santi had a decent night tonight. He's $5,800. Jabari Smith only played 21 minutes in that game, 22 minutes, missed all of his shots.
Dude, he had the worst fantasy game you ever seen in your life.
It was not pretty. That's for sure.
Oh my! 3.3 fantasy points.
We've had some bad nights. We've had the Tony Snell game before, not from him, but just in general.
Shout out! Hopefully, Tony Snell gets a contract. I don't know if you've seen the.
Yeah, he needs it by tomorrow.
Needs it by tomorrow. I hope someone gets to him.
I'm sure somebody will throw him on a 10-day, right?
Charlotte. I mean,
sure, why not? Why isn't Memphis throwing Tony Snell a 10-day?
That's a great team. That's a great shout right there.
Right?
Yep. Great shout.
What are they doing? Any other power forwards down here? I mean, Memphis obviously gets the nod. Sohan's 57.
How about Jalen Smith? I would go back to the Jalen Smith well. $4,400. So him and Miles Turner, John, full split center minutes tonight. Jalen Smith closed the game. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks for Jalen Smith. That's his third game in his last 4 outings in which he's played 20 minutes and has had 30 plus fantasy points. 1 rebound away from 3 double-doubles in his last 4 games. You know what? It helps playing next to guys like Pascal Siakam and playing with Tyrese Haliburton, because you just get what you get. And Jalen Smith is, if he's going to split time with, he's 4,400. He's a fantasy point per minute guy.
Yeah, I like that call. Obviously, Sabonis is a tough matchup for the Pacers here, but Turner will deal with a lot of that initially. So, let's go on over to the center position.
I got two for you. 3,900 Najee Marshall played 31 minutes the other night. If there's no Zion, no Herb. Especially if they're going to just give Trey Murphy 27, 28 minutes. That's just room for Najee Marshall. Dyson Daniels only played 24 minutes. So the nod did go to Najee, 3,900. And then John Isaac, 3,700. They subbed
him back in that game.
They asked Paolo Banchero after the game. They said, "Yeah, I think every time Jonathan Isaac's been on the floor this year, he has won his matchup. So yeah, he's a good player and he's going to continue to play and be good."
Didn't start, which is kind of tough, but
it is. But he's back in that role that we saw earlier, where he's playing 18 minutes and closing, as you and I saw in that game.
Yeah, they subbed out Wendell Carter to throw it. He was just having a better time on Wemby than what Wendell Carter was. Probably not shocking, right? You throw another freak 7-footer out there to deal with one. So moving to the center position, there is Sabonis. He's 10-4. He's the only 10K center on the board. Is 19, 17, and 13 a good way to follow up a 20 and 26 game?
Seems okay.
Yeah. Imagine taking an under Sabonis against Miami.
No, I couldn't.
Imagine
just looking at Domantas Sabonis and being this feels like an under tonight.
Against a team that's lost 30 straight games, and you're like, nah, historical data says, not going to happen.
Yeah.
He dominated. He'll probably dominate in this matchup as well. If we started our lineup tonight with Sabonis, I'd be like, yeah, of course.
It's a good decision.
Sure.
Smart
100%.
Decision.
Makes sense. Because he's putting up the numbers that the other centers on the league, elites do. So, 100%.
Yep.
It is a good Bam spot. He's $8,400 against the Wizards. Can Bam be good? Question mark. He's been impacted by when Jimmy is good, everybody else takes a downgrade, I guess.
Yep, for sure.
Don't really care. Don't care for that. Şengün would be in a good spot, but he, questionable with the illness, did not let us down. He let us down. He was the cover of the live stream. Let us down.
He sure did.
Still managed a double and 34 fantasy points, but we were looking for some much bigger production there.
Mm-hmm.
The chat, I'm kicking myself
because there's no Jalen Williams in that game.
There was also no Jokic. And they started Peyton and not
Watson.
DeAndre Jordan.
They went Peyton Watson, Aaron Gordon.
And I just never went back to the Chet Holmgren well. And I just started. His rebound prop for the night was like 7.5. His points, I think, were like 16.5. And like, yeah, he just barely went over to some of those things, but that was an obvious. That's an obvious Chet game. They had nobody to deal with Chet Holmgren in that one. I don't know if Charlotte does either. I mean,
no,
Nick Richards is fine, but he's not chasing Chet Holmgren out to the perimeter. So they're going to put PJ Washington out there or Bridges out there, and that's going to be on Chet. He's tall.
He's very
long. He's like, I don't know. I feel like this is another good Chet spot.
And then when Nick Richards does chase him to the perimeter, he just back cuts and gets an easy dunk.
Yeah, because he got handles
and a Josh
crazy things. Yeah.
Without Jalen Williams this year, just for context, SGA 1.75 fantasy points per minute. Chet 1.24 fantasy points per minute. So elite numbers there.
Mm-hmm. Jalen Duran.
Yeah, it's really tough scenes out here. Tough scenes. Tough scenes. I don't know what to say.
This is an elite matchup for him. Clippers are not a good team against centers.
Plumlee, Plum Dog, and Small Ball.
Yep.
And Tice.
Like the rebound should be there. Yep. I don't know how long this game is competitive though.
It's the whole time. Every second of the game.
Yeah.
That's my mind. If Jalen Duran...
I like the price. I like the spot. I know what the player can be.
And the ceiling. He has 2 games removed from a 2020.
Yeah. Yep. Cade being back. Double-digit assist shot of Cade. Doing the lob game.
Yep.
There's a lot to like about Jalen Duran in this matchup. They're at home. Yeah. Some good stuff there. Nurkic, as you mentioned, had a big day. 28 and 11. Against Brooklyn, 30 minutes. If Capella's on the floor, another stay-at-home center. Nurkic is out there playing a good spot. So could be there.
Jovel minutes randomly back the other day, and I wonder if that had something to do with one, he was amazing, but two, I wonder if we in games where they need without Zion and stuff, they're like, all right. We need Jonas playmaking. We need Jonas on the glass. Just a thought because he was obviously extended 33 minutes for the first time in quite a while.
I mean, they certainly can't put Larry Nance on Victor Wembanyama. So,
I don't know who. Nobody can. I don't know who the hell guards Victor Wembanyama.
Well, I've said that, right? There's only a few guys in the league just that match up pure size wise. Then Wemby anyways, it's it's like Giannis, it's Porzingis, John Isaac sorta. right?
End of list.
Durant.
End of list.
End of list, right. Durant was the original unicorn there, but they're gonna need Valanciunas probably I would think on the floor. I don't know. Turner, we mentioned losing some time. I don't think Pirtle would play any minutes coming back. Gafford gets Miami again. Miami's been terrible, but I don't know if I want to go to the Gafford well there. Nick Richards has been good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last 2 games will leave something
to be desired. Foul trouble there against Chicago, but still gave you 10 and 6 in that one. Tillman got hurt again. Agonku's 46. Mo Wagner is just going to come off the bench and play 16 minutes for whatever reason against San Antonio. Sore loser to me. What are you doing at center for value?
Nothing else. There's nothing that really stands out. I wonder if we see Xavier Tillman just randomly play on the second leg of a back-to-back after not playing, but it's just hilarious that this happens all the time where like this guy's clearly had a knee injury. And then they're like, actually, let's play him 37 minutes in a game. That makes total sense for a guy that's been banged up with a knee injury, right? And then he can't play the next game. You're like, I wonder why he can't play. I wonder if it was the 37 minutes you gave him on a knee injury. It's like, oh, Joel Embiid didn't look like he could jump in the pregame warmups. And you
he had torn meniscus in his knee. That's why.
Reports just came out from Shams. The update is that he doesn't, in fact, have one.
Oh, okay.
And the team has not officially confirmed a tear, and Joel will remain out through the weekend while a treatment plan is finalized. So that's an interesting wrinkle in the Joel Embiid saga here, John. But nevertheless, onto the slate. Clipper centers, really hard to get there. If Pirtle does miss, Jonte Porter is also questionable. I think we'd have to consider Thad Young, whether we want to or not. I think we
I have no problem using Thad Young if I know he's going to play at least 20 minutes, because he can be a volume scorer, not scoring, but just fantasy points, right? He does everything. He's just as likely to play 20 minutes and have 3 steals in 20 minutes and then anything else, right? So
right. We mentioned Jalen Smith. Naz Reid's always there. Hey, look at that. Naz Reid, 26 minutes in a blowout, 30 fantasy points, because that's what Naz Reid does as well. So those would probably be the only guys. I don't think there's anything else. I guess if Kenrich started, he played 16 minutes. Can't go there. That's it.
Sure. Let's build a lineup. I'm just gonna start.
Oh, John, we missed something. Let me go to this. Isaiah Stewart is out, and so is so is Mike Muscala, who started that game.
Okay.
I'd assume I'm not gonna assume. We could see Asor Thompson start here, $3,700. I knew there was something here. Potential. I don't know if he does. I don't know if he doesn't. But if he does, I would have interest. We've seen Asor Thompson.
Yeah, blowout run maybe too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna plug Sabonis in.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I like that idea.
Let's see. For some value, I still like Norm. I'm just gonna plug Norm in. He's safe.
That's good. Josh Richardson?
Yeah, Richardson. Sure, that works. Let's go Richardson.
He's point guard only.
Sad. Okay, Richardson, Norm. Give us some value here. 6,200 a play. Where's Kuminga at? Small forward.
Trae Young / Durant, or Trae Young / Booker, or Trae Young / Beal, or some variation of Suns and.
Yep, power forward there for Trae. We can probably do is Kuminga. Let's do this. Is Beal a point guard only? No, shooting guard. Let's see if we can do this. Beal, Powell, Kuminga. It's 4,500 for 2 plays. We definitely have Jalen
Smith, yep.
And then a 47 util, Trey Murphy, or anybody we really want down here. But
yeah, I mean, Koulibaly would be there if he's starting again. Like, there's plenty of guys.
So Josh Richardson, Bradley Beal, Norm Powell, Jonathan Kuminga, Domantas Sabonis, Trae Young, Jalen Smith, and Trey Murphy. You got double spend with Young and Sabonis here in great spots, getting a little exposure to that Phoenix Atlanta game, exposure to the Indiana and Sacramento game. Example lineup for everybody. I am on the playbook, so have that ready for you all on Friday. Have any questions, get us in the Discord. Follow us on Twitter if you haven't done so already. See our Twitter handles right down there at the bottom of the screen. Till then, we'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern time. We hope to see you there. Good luck, everybody.